I was 19 years old, working evenings at a large sporting goods store in Phoenix just to survive. Gas money, textbooks, rent, that was my whole life. For the first few months, everything was fine. Then, Rachel Donovan became my supervisor. And everything changed. Rachel had been with the company for nearly 8 years and never let anyone forget it. I built this department, she'd say. If I left tomorrow, this place would fall apart. Nobody liked her. But everyone was afraid of her. Because Rachel had a habit of making people disappear. One employee got transferred after arguing with her. Another had their hours cut to almost nothing. A third quit after being written up so many times he couldn't take it anymore. When I became one of the top sales associates in the department, that's when she turned her attention to me. Schedules changed without warning. My hours dropped. Customers I spent an hour helping somehow got reassigned to another employee right before checkout. Then the write-ups started. Apparently I wasn't greeting customers correctly. Apparently I wasn't organizing displays properly. Apparently, I wasn't following procedures. One write-up claimed I spent too much time helping a customer choose a phishing setup. Helping customers was literally my job. When I pushed back, Rachel just smiled. You should worry less about me and more about keeping your job. That was the moment I realized she didn't just want to make my life difficult. She wanted me gone. Over the next 3 months, my hours dropped from 32 per week to 8. I started skipping meals to save money. Meanwhile, Rachel acted like nothing was happening. But then I noticed something strange. Every Friday afternoon, the same customers would walk in. Not random people, the exact same faces every single week. And every time, Rachel personally handled them. Nobody else was allowed near those sales. She'd spend an hour walking them through the store. Ring them up, then leave in an unusually good mood. One day I mentioned it to a coworker named Kevin. He immediately stopped smiling. "Don't ask questions," he said. That response told me everything I needed to know. A week later, one of Rachel's regular customers accidentally confirmed it. "Rachel always takes care of me," he said casually. "What do you mean?" He laughed. "She gets me better prices than the..." Then he saw my face and changed the subject fast. But it was already too late. So I started paying attention. Really paying attention. Rachel wasn't just helping those customers, she was pulling products from the stockroom herself, processing transactions personally, carrying merchandise to their vehicles. Nobody questioned it because she was the supervisor. Then one evening, she made a mistake. A huge one. I was returning misplaced inventory when I noticed a shopping cart near Register 4. Rachel was helping one of her regulars. The cart was packed expensive camping gear, premium optics, high-end fishing equipment, portable power stations. Something told me to remember what was in that cart, so I did. 10 minutes later, I walked past the register. The receipt was still sitting in the printer tray. Then I stopped walking. Half the expensive items were missing from that receipt. The customer had walked out with thousands of dollars in merchandise. Only a fraction of it was paid for. I thought I'd made a mistake. Maybe I remembered wrong. Maybe there were 2 carts. So I watched more carefully. And it happened again. And again. And again. Same pattern every time. Specific customers. Specific missing items. Meanwhile, inventory reports were getting worse. Corporate started asking questions. Management meetings became tense. Hours got cut across the entire department. Rachel blamed everyone except herself. Then one afternoon, I overheard her on the phone in the stockroom. She didn't know I was there. Just mark it damaged. Silence. Nobody checks those reports anyway. Then she laughed. That laugh sent a chill straight through me. Because I knew I wasn't imagining any of this. Something illegal was happening. I spent the next 2 months documenting everything. Dates, times, customers, products, transactions, patterns. I never told a single person. The less anyone knew, the safer I was. Then Rachel turned her attention back to me hard. I was called into the manager's office. Apparently someone had reported me for giving unauthorized discounts to customers. The accusation was completely false. and I immediately knew exactly where it came from. That's when I understood her plan. If corporate found inventory problems, she already had a scapegoat ready. Me, for weeks I barely slept. Every phone call felt like the end. Every shift felt like walking through a mine. Rachel seemed happier than ever. She thought she'd won. She thought she was untouchable. What she didn't know was that I had already made copies of everything. Every suspicious transaction, every inventory discrepancy, every customer pattern, everything. Instead of reporting Rachel to store management, I went completely around them. I sent everything directly to corporate loss prevention. Every note, every date, every observation. Then I waited. 3 weeks passed. Nothing. I started thinking they'd ignored it. Then one Tuesday morning, 3 people in business suits walked into the store. Nobody recognized them. They didn't introduce themselves. They just started watching. Transactions, reports, inventory, employees, for days. Rachel looked nervous for the first time since I'd met her. Then she stopped smiling, and then she started staying late. Very late. One night, she remained in the building almost 3 hours after closing. The next morning, corporate investigators arrived before the store even opened. Apparently, Rachel had tried deleting records from the system overnight. Instead of saving herself, she had created even more evidence against herself. The investigation exploded. What they found shocked everyone. Rachel had been running the scam for years. She would intentionally skip scanning expensive merchandise, then classify the missing inventory as damaged or defective. Her customers knew exactly what was happening. They'd walk out with hundreds, sometimes thousands, in unpaid merchandise. Corporate estimated the total losses exceeded $70,000. And that was only what they could prove. The day it ended felt like a dream. I was helping a customer choose a kayak when 2 police officers walked through the front doors. Behind them came the regional director and 2 corporate investigators. The entire store went quiet. Rachel was standing near customer service. The moment she saw them, every bit of color drained from her face. They spoke briefly. Rachel started shaking her head. Then she looked around the store desperately, like she was searching for a way out. There wasn't one. A few minutes later, the officers escorted her toward the exit. Every employee stopped working, every customer stopped shopping, every cashier stopped scanning. The entire store watched. Rachel kept her eyes on the floor. The same woman who spent years humiliating people couldn't even look anyone in the... Then, just before the doors, she looked up. Our eyes met. And in that moment she knew. She knew exactly who had ended the empire she spent years building. I didn't smile. I didn't wave. I didn't say a word. I just looked at her calmly, quietly, the way you look at a storm after it's already passed. The doors closed behind her. And just like that, she was gone. 2 weeks later, the fake accusations against me were officially cleared. My hours were fully restored. Several employees got raises. The department became profitable again almost overnight. Funny how that works. The woman who spent years convincing everyone else they were the problem had been the problem all along. And the best part? I never had to get revenge. All I had to do was tell the truth and let her destroy herself.